8 hours on mine.
In 8 hours?
That I'm looking at.
That's about right for us.
Did I press something wrong? Let me know. So on my end, it says that I'm live, and I've been live for 12 seconds.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Let's come out of that for a second.
Let's see. Oh,
live now. It says live now for us. Click on it.
So it just went from 12 to 11, 10, 9, and 4 seconds, and now we're live for 12 seconds again. There we go.
We're live.
So what episode is this?
Yeah, just having a laugh, seeing how 4 old men will figure out how to deal with all of this tech at one time and record a podcast.
You say 4 old men, Mads. It's just you. You're doing it all. We're just sitting here.
Yeah.
Episode 225.
Episode 225. Nice. So let's see. I've got a couple of different scenes ready. We'll start on this one with the videos, and let's just start recording. So for anybody actually listening right now, or viewing it would be this time. So what we're trying to do is to record the podcast as we usually do, but stream it at the same time. So bear with us if we are horribly bad at this, but hey, we have to try at some point. So ready for the view.
It's gonna be a mess.
The good thing is, there's 4 people watching it. I think it's us.
Must be us. And that's good. But
the video is very delayed, I've got to say.
Yeah, it is. But that's how it is when you stream stuff. You're going to be like 10 seconds after what we actually talk about. Yeah. So I'll try to keep up. I'm controlling the stream here, so I'll be switching scenes and then doing stuff. So you guys are going to be controlling the podcast, because I really can't do 2 things at once. I mean, two little chromosomes, or however.
Steve, that means Chris is in charge.
No, you're in, mate. Whenever you're in the house, you are in charge. So
whoa! I'm gonna make it. This is your episode. This is your idea.
This is your episode.
You're dressed like you're in Miami Vice. You're in charge.
This is your episode. This is your idea.
I don't even know what we're doing properly. So
this wasn't my idea. You said let's do a magazine idea, and then I said let's do loads of magazines, and you said no, and everyone else said no. It's your idea.
So for audio purposes only, we're about to start.
Good.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode
Just start whenever you're ready, Chris.
Of the UK's #1 award-winning podcast show, The Retro Asylum. And in a unique twist, we are currently live on YouTube to just us at the moment.
We're up to 10.
Just us.
We're up to 10.
Is it 10? Oh, better start minding the P's and Q's then.
Yeah.
So I'm here with, you've just heard his dulcet tones, Stephen Eriksson.
Hello.
Mads Christensen.
Hi.
Without a beard.
Without a beard, it's very weird, yeah.
Yeah.
And Dean Swain. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Very well.
Pretty good, mate. Pretty good.
This is weird, isn't it? Our faces on the interwebs.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Do you think was there a big demand for this? Is the people clamouring to see us?
No.
I think we're losing our listenership rapidly.
Yeah.
We had 12 listeners. We're now down to 6.
Yeah. Hey, we're actually up to 12 now. We've gone to 10 to 12.
So I better tell everyone what we're here to do and what this episode is about. So this episode really is just us hanging out and having a chat. We've been playing some Amiga games, and we're going to talk about them. And it's themed around an issue of the One magazine from October 1992. I think it is, guys. Isn't it October 1992?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we've each read that magazine, and we've each taken a game that was reviewed in that magazine that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about whether or not we agree with the review. But generally, I think we're going to pick up on some of the interesting articles in that magazine as well. But before we do that, an episode of Retro Asylum wouldn't be complete without the immortal question. I'm going to start with Dean Swain. What have you been up to, Dean?
What have I been up to? This week I have managed to kill my Atari ST. I have received my Atari Lynx back from Mark Payne, who has installed a new LCD screen for me. It's an Atari Lynx 2, and he's done a top job. The screen in this is now actually usable, and I won't put it on here because it won't show up too well, but I will put some videos out. I'm going to do a proper YouTube video featuring some footage, and really worth doing. The screen I got was from a company called Ben Ven down in Australia, and the screen itself was about 50 quid. So good price, really good quality, very pleased with it. Other than that, not a lot. I was really gutted about my Atari ST. I've managed to blow the power supply up, which is
How
inside.
did you do that?
I was swapping out the GoTech in it. I was going to update the firmware on that, and I must have just knocked something. It just stopped working afterwards. But if I put pressure on the Atari, once it was all back together, it must be a loose connection or something. It was coming back on, but I didn't want to take a chance, so that's been sent off for repair.
Yeah, shame, but hopefully easily fixed.
Hopefully, yeah, it should be. I think he's saying a power supply. I probably could have just bought another one and plunked it in there myself, but
that's not to
I
dabble.
couldn't be bothered. Yeah, which was a shame because I've been playing Bubble Bobble on it, and I'll put some footage of that out on our Facebook and Twitter. And,
I missed that on the ST.
On the ST, very nice conversion as well.
Was that a commercially released port, or did it come out later?
No, it's commercial. It came out at the same time as the other Ocean releases. Conversions for it.
You're playing Rainbow Islands as well, right?
Yeah, sorry, what did I say?
Bubble
Bubble.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
yeah, Bubble Bubble is out on it. Sorry, I got a fly in here.
Flies in the shed.
Flies in the shed. Sorry, Rainbow Islands, what I meant. So, really nice conversion.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bubble Bubble got a commercial release as well.
Yeah.
On the ST.
On the ST.
And Rainbow Islands was done by Braybrook as well on the Atari ST.
It was, yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
There's no back ports of that game, is there?
No, there isn't. Not the initial conversions anyway. By Graph Gold, superb.
Yeah, very good. Good, Steve. Post lockdown, you're back in work. You're no longer. Last time we were on an episode together, you were telling us that you get up, you watch a bit of daytime TV, you go for a walk, but no longer the case because you're back in the saddle in work, aren't you now?
Back in the saddle in work, which is in here, which is about 8 foot away from my bed. So now I am business as usual. I get up at 5 to 8 because I start at 8, and I walk in here in my underpants. And I log in, and that's it now. Yeah, so I'm now working from in here. I was just looking then on our YouTube, sorry, because we've still got 12. We haven't got any more. No one else is listening. But we've got some messages already. It's all happening, lads. It's all happening. Yeah. Blake Brett says, "Hi guys, hope you're all well." Thumbs up emoji. Retro fun for everyone says, "Evening all. Hope you are all well." Dean, the link screen is stunning.
It is.
Squinty Us or Squinty US says, "Hi guys." So in about 10 seconds we should hear from them again, hopefully, if they respond.
Let's just get back to the thing about starting work in underwear. We really appreciate that you put on some clothes for us this time too.
Well, yeah, I've got to make an effort for the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been weird. So like when I first started work, which was like 2 weeks ago, because I'm all set up to work from home now. I started at 8, so I was getting up at 7 like I would for work properly, getting a shower, getting a breakfast, cup of coffee. First couple of days, I was sat in here 10 to 8, ready to go. And then the day after that, I was just like, but the bed's there, man. And no one knows what I'm wearing. So I literally 5 to 8 just fell out the bed, came in here and typed hello. And so that's what I've been doing. So I'm still on lockdown, basically, just with a job.
Nice.
Any gaming stuff going on there, or is it just all nakedness and work?
I mean, it's always nakedness, isn't it? Probably. So gaming-wise, I have picked up on Matt's advice this black rectangle. If you look at YouTube, it's an Anbernic RG350. Anbernic. Basically a little handheld console that you can it's got like Dingus Linux OS on it. So it's basically got a ton of emulators on it. It gets updated quite really often. So I bought that. It was 80 quid. I've basically been spending money on rubbish.
Like everybody else during this lockdown.
There's nothing else to do, so I just keep buying junk. But this is cool. So this has got like tons of emulators in it. My Commodore 64, all your consoles and stuff. But what I'm going to do with it because I've pretty much got a good setup now in that I've got most of the computers over there. It's connected to a real telly. I've got the RGB Pi connected to that as well for like consoles and stuff. So I'm just going to emulate handheld stuff that we ever do on this.
That's what I was going to say, Steve. There's one thing I've started, well, past year or so, when it comes to these handheld devices, I don't like playing proper home console games on them. I just want to use them for handheld games.
Yeah, so that's the idea. I'm not going to play any console stuff or any of the proper stuff because, like last night, I got myself, I got another Raspberry Pi because I, once again, just wasted money. And set it up downstairs. So, and I've got like everything on it.
Yeah.
I played the Commodore 64 on it, and I thought, I've got the real Commodore 64, like, there.
Yeah.
I can see it.
People who are like just listening to us, I'm pointing at something.
If you've got the real hardware, why are you playing?
Yeah, so that's the point. I was playing it downstairs, and then I was trying to adjust all the settings to make it like the proper Commodore 64. And then I just thought, I've got one upstairs. Just go and play it for real. We did. So basically, the Raspberry Pi I bought to waste of money. But like I say, I haven't got all the handhelds, and this little handheld device is really nice, and it's powerful enough to get up to like sort of PlayStation 1 level. Excuse me. So I'm just going to use it for handhelds, and I just thought that's cool. I can just play Link's, Game Gear, and all the different Game Boy stuff on it.
So it's like the Evercade that's just come out. They've released an Atari Lynx or a couple of packs for the Atari Lynx. Now that to me is a great idea. If they started releasing Game Boy packs and Neo Geo Pocket packs and stuff like that, I would be in for that. But as it stands, the majority of games are NES games, Mega Drive games, SNES games. I don't want to play those on a handheld. I'm going to play handheld games on a handheld.
I imagine licensing might be a bit difficult, Dean, but as you said, they've already managed to get hold of licenses for the NES games, so you would have thought it would be possible at some stage.
Well, it'll be down to the copyright holders, won't it? And, you know, just because stuff was out on the Game Boy doesn't mean that Nintendo got the copyright on it. It's whoever made the game as well. Same with the NES.
Yeah, but you have the publishing rights, though, don't they, to most of the games?
Well, like you said, though, they've got the NES stuff coming out, then I don't see the problem with the...
there must be a way around it. So.
They'd never get the first-party stuff, would they? But there's plenty of good third-party stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like a nice piece of kit, that Steve. So what, it loads the ROMs off the SD card then, does it?
On the which, sorry?
Or on your handheld thingy?
Yes, sorry, so that's got, like, it's got a micro SD card slot with 64 gig card in it, so just whack everything on it. But like I say, I'm only going to use it for the handheld stuff, so I probably need like 2 gig max.
Yeah.
Or 8 gig card, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's cool. So I've been playing with that. And then obviously there's the Amiga that you give me, Chris, which I've been slowly upgrading.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And retro
You can hear a disk drive whirring on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it authentic, to be honest, letting the noise be on the podcast. So when I got it off Chris, it was in, I mean, to be fair to you, Chris, it was in bloody nice condition anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad.
It was like, no, it was really tidy. I was well impressed because every 500 I've ever seen since back in the day is just yellow. And this wasn't really nice. But the disk drive wasn't working, was it?
No.
So I picked up a Gotek, but it's an internal one. There's no wires, and it just fits into the drive, and it fits through the floppy drive slot. So there's nothing hanging out. You don't have to break any plastic or put any holes in it. It fits in perfectly. Nice. Even with a piece of it coming through the eject button slot to hold it in place. It's really nice. And it's got a little display on it with what game's loaded and everything, so it's really tidy. So I had that installed, was made up with it. Then last week, because it's been so sunny, I thought, you know what, I'm going to retro-bright it. Even though it was pretty clean anyway, I just thought, why not just throw it out there? Because I had the stuff in the house. So that I did it for about 8 hours, just in the garden, and it's absolutely immaculate now. It looks brand new. So really happy. And then the last thing I did this week, the one thing I noticed with the Gotek, which was annoying me a little bit, is that there's no sound out of it. So every time I play a game, the screen would go blank while it was loading for like sometimes 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I just think, is it still working?
Yeah.
I'd have to look around and look at the floppy drive light and it'd be flashing away or it'd be on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then I looked online to see if you could mod it. And you can get a mod for the Gotek. It's basically a little speaker with 2 wires and you put them in the right place. And as long as you've got the right firmware on the Gotek, just if our listeners are dropping off while I'm saying all this. No, we're still 30.
They're just being nice to you, Steve.
It's been nice, yeah. So anyway, I bought this little speaker thing. It cost me about £8 in total to do it all. Made sure I had the right firmware on the GoTech, set it up, and now it emulates the floppy drive as well. So it's what you can.
You need to solder, Steve.
Oh no! So one of the tutorials I found was just you get little leads that are for Arduino, I think. It's got 2 female ends on the end of the leads.
Right.
So it's basically put it onto the pins.
So anyone could do that.
Anyone could do it, mate. Yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
And we can hear it in the background right now.
Well, listen to the thing.
I keep thinking it's that fly again.
But it feels even more authentic now, because one of the things about it not making any noise is it takes you away from the fact that it's an Amiga. You start like, what's it doing? Why is it going? And the fact it's now doing everything that it used to do.
Yeah.
And there's no wires or anything hanging out. You literally forget that you're using anything with it. Just your game. It's really good. Like.
Yeah.
I might have to invest in that, because I've got a 1200 and using a GoTech. Just loading the games up that we're going to be talking about. Oh my god! Just finding AGA compatible versions is a nightmare.
It is a pain.
On mine, I'm watching the the display on it, because on mine I've got it so it spins round basically if the disk drive's whirring, and I haven't got any sound, so I'm having to watch the side of the computer all the time. You end up with a dodgy neck.
Yeah, it is a problem with the A1200. I mean, I'm always every time I start a game, I'm always thinking, "Oh God!" It feels like
wish that I had a 500 now.
Yeah, so do I.
I'll tell you what, I'm selling one.
But if you're fucking it, can I have Sims on the A500 I gave you?
Yeah. I'll do a deal on it, mate. 150.
150 quid. So yeah, I'm being robbed. Rob blind. Mads, what have you been up to? Let's get Steve off the air.
Yeah, so gaming wise, trying to beat your score on Strider is proving to be quite difficult actually. I'm struggling. There are 5 levels in Strider, and I am pretty much every time getting to the boss of the 4th level, but I can't beat it. It's like a robo dinosaur, and I keep hitting it at its feet, and nothing's really happening, and I can't really get past that. But I will get your score, mate. I will get your score.
There's a secret way of doing it quite easily, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
No, of course you're not. But I will beat you. No worries. I think
you've got to climb. You got to get onto that vine that's above you. That is the secret. It's how you get there. That's the trouble.
Okay, I'll figure it out. And apart from that, I've been playing the most beautiful point-and-click adventure I've played in many, many years. So War Jedi games, so Francisco Gonzalez and Ben Chandler, I think.
Ben Chandler,
they made this beautiful game a couple of years ago called Shotlight. I'm going to show you here, actually, because now we're on video, so I know this isn't good content for the audio podcast, but on the video you can now see my iPad running this beautiful point-and-click adventure game, and that's I mean, an iPad is the perfect platform for playing a point-and-click on your sofa and just relaxing. And Shotlight, as it's called, is really a great point-and-click that harks back to the golden ages of like early 90s point-and-click adventure games, with a great story that reminds me of something like Beneath a Steel Sky or something like that. And then the quality is there as well, just as high. So that was really good fun. But apart from that, not a lot of gaming. Well, I did play a bit of Amiga games with Dean recently, but apart from that, not a lot of gaming.
Well, you stay away.
You were playing a bit of Destiny with me, weren't you? And then you all just left.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We will play some more of that, Steve. Don't worry.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Keep saying that.
But you guys are so far ahead of me. It feels like it's no fun for you two.
Don't be putting it on us.
That's selfless, me. That's it.
That's it.
No one's interested in your modern game chat anyway. Get on with it.
So anyway,
modern games.
What have I been up to? So I've also been playing a Francisco Gonzalez. Sorry, Dean, this is a modern game, but it's very much one with 16-bit sensibilities. It's a point and click in the classic style, and we will soon be speaking with Francisco on an episode of the Retro Asylum, forthcoming soon, about his influences, because he clearly is influenced by those classic 16-bit adventures, more the Sierras than the LucasArts, I think. But I've been playing his most recent game called Lamplight City, And wow, what a game. I finished it yesterday. It plays more like a visual novel than a point and click. You don't have an inventory, and there's no puzzles in the classic sense of the word. A lot of it is just going around talking to suspect witnesses and puzzling out the whodunits. But it's so well written, and the graphic style is beautiful, like Victorian setting, but with an element of steampunk. So hand-drawn backgrounds. It really is a pretty thing. So I really, really enjoy that, and more to come on Francisco. I've also been down the rabbit hole, partly inspired by this episode, of trying to get a WHD load solution working in my 1200. Oh, God.
You need some extra RAM, don't you?
Well, this was all started by trying to get the humans running on the 1200. The floppies wouldn't work. I couldn't find an AGA-compatible version. And I really wanted to play it on the hardware, because I think unless you've got a USB zip stick or Competition Pro style joystick, which I don't have, USB, emulating the Amiga just does not feel authentic at all. So I struggle with it. So I was desperate to get this thing running on the 1200. Bought myself the compact flash thing. Bought myself the ID compact flash adapter. Is that USB? Is it? Yeah, that's what I need. The 30 quid though on Amazon. And
I'll do you for 20.
He's a shark, isn't he?
No, you can have it, mate. Do you want it?
Why don't you want it?
You give me an Amiga, mate. You can have it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you've got to come down and get it, but you can have it.
Post lockdown, then.
Yeah. No, I'll post it to you, mate. Just I'll need to find the box or something, but yeah, you can have it.
Oh, quality, thanks, mate. No, that'll be lovely, because I can't.
It doesn't work, but
Parts only.
No, it does. Yeah, I'll send you that, mate. No worries.
So I managed to, after 3 days almost solidly faffing round, trying to get this compact flash set up with the WHD. I finally managed to do it. Found a tutorial that I could follow and worked. Plugged the thing into the 1200, wouldn't boot into Workbench. Okay, what's going on? Figured that I'd plugged the IDE to CF lead in the wrong way round. And fried the blooming compact flash card.
Oh, right.
It took me 3 days to set that thing up. But thankfully, didn't fry the Amiga, because from what I've read, you can fry your motherboard by plugging things in the wrong way. So Joe, I thought, forget it. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother. So I ended up playing The Humans, which is the game I'll be talking about in a little bit. Through Amiga Forever, and it's fine. And I ended up playing it with the arcade stick just so I've actually got a stick in my hand. But it's not the same, and that is a faffy game to control as well. So you really need the real hardware. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've decided though, reading a little bit earlier about this whole A500, A1200 compatibility thing, that I think if I'm going to persevere with the 1200, which I will, I definitely need to get myself set up with the extra RAM, like you've just said, Dean. A proper compact flash solution, but I think I'm just going to buy one.
Yeah, it seems that there has been loads of AGA fixes, but they are all WHD based. Yeah. You can't find them AHD. Is it AFD or AHD?
ADF.
ADF.
Yeah, ADF even. Getting mixed up. So it's a pain going through trying to load stuff on a GoTech. With Humans, I did load it on my CD32.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a keyboard that will plug in, and it needs you to put the code in.
Yep.
Even if you're just pressing return.
And you'll be switching Humans with the function keys as well, so.
Right. Well, I couldn't find a key, so I've not been able to play it. I've been
You used to show
trying
on the CD32 version to switch between Humans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when you first load it up, it asks for it's got copy protection on it.
Was that the 1200 version or the CD32?
It's probably a disc version that is installed on mine. So because
I downloaded an ISO of on the CD32. The Human 1 and 2 came bundled together.
That's right. Yeah,
I did download an ISO that ran on my CD32 perfectly. See, this I've had no blooming luck, but turns out my CD32, which Clarky, one of our listeners, thanks again, Clarky, gave me earlier this year, but one of the buttons on the controller doesn't work. So I was destined not to play Humans on real hardware.
I don't use the official controllers. I've got the highly
Honeybee.
sought after Competition Pros.
Yeah.
They're
These are
expensive.
much better.
Mm.
I've got 2 of them as well.
You're gonna give me one. You're gonna get
No.
this is the season for giving. Can I have one?
No.
So yeah, that's really. And the final thing today in the post came one of these little things, which is
Nice.
pretty cool.
Expensive?
This, by the way, for the listeners, this was an SD2 SNES, 100 quid.
100 quid.
100 quid.
Mm.
It's not the new one, because the new one has support for the FX Pro games. So that won't play the likes of Super Mario World 2, and it won't play, obviously, Star Fox, but it will play a lot of I think there was a type of game, Super Mario RPG is one, they call it the SA1, there was a kind of graphical enhancement.
Yeah.
But the new firmware support for the older SD to SNES now means that it will play. It's a little glitchy, but it does play. So, yeah, that's something I've been after for the longest time. And I treated myself last payday.
Just spotted
So,
my phone
yeah.
isn't plugged in.
So, really, Dean's gone. We've got Dean's shoulder in the shot now.
Yeah, I've disappeared. And I'm back.
So yeah, that's really what I've been up to, other than playing Strider and our Super Mario Brothers playthrough for the community playthrough, which is going from strength to strength.
I did try Strider. I still don't like the game.
Yeah?
No?
Oh, I love it. I think it's really, really good. I mean,
Yeah.
I find that with any arcade game, if you invest enough time in it, trying to get better at it, you find out where it's at and what's special about this game. And then Strider is no different from all of the other games. I mean...
Yeah.
After I can get to the end of level 4 quite easily now, but it gets.
Is that on 1 credit, Mads?
Yeah, of course, on 1 credit. Yeah. So it gets to become this little dance that you do. That you know, I need to do this here. I need to jump now. I need to hack and slash here. I need to wait for that power up, and it just. I love diving into an arcade game like that.
Yeah, there are people in our Discord channel. There's 2 of them. It's handled Rose Tinted Spectrum and Minor Willie, who anyone in our Discord will be familiar with, or long time listeners recognise Minor Willie from scoreboards of past. But they're about at this point they're less than 100,000 away from the Twin Galaxies world record on main Strider.
And they both, of course, complete the game on 1 credit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! At this point, they're thinking of ways to abuse the game so as to increase your score. But
I'm so bad at it. I can get onto the beginning of the 2nd stage where the wolves first come out on 1 credit, and that is pushing it.
You get to the point where I can consistently now get to level 3, usually without taking a hit. So it's just like all these great arcade games. It's practice.
Yeah, it's just
practice
over and over again, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, just play it and play it and play it. You get good. That's just what happens. So, has anyone spotted anything in the news lately that anybody would like to mention?
Is this virus going about?
Yeah, there's this virus going about. Don't go out.
All that rubbish.
Unless you've got to go to work, of course.
This is a virus-free zone.
Okay.
Any gaming news?
It is.
Anything?
The PS5 live gameplay. I know this is supposed to be retro and this isn't, but the PS5.
Plugging the company he works for. Stop it.
I'm still at work. This is work now. I'm still there. So the PS5 reveal of the gameplay. So there's the Xbox Series 1X.
Yeah.
I've told people to like from my family to watch this. I've just posted them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Michelle has just started watching it as well, and they're all turning off straight. Anyway, so the PS5 gameplay reveal and the Xbox Series 1X reveal were in the last week or so, weren't they? What do we think?
Yeah.
So,
amazing.
Yeah, the PS5. I mean, was the new Unreal Engine?
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, that was just amazing. Looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Looks amazing. Whether it turns out like that, though, is another thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you,
I mean, develops, isn't it?
We talked before, haven't we, about the fact that with the modern consoles, you get that incremental kind of jump between generation to generation. But I tell you, I mean, looking at that, I mean, that is a leap, I think, from PS4. I mean, it's incredible, that thing.
As long as the games do look like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because how many renders have we seen over the years, and then the games come out and they're not the same?
I know.
Remember
of course.
True.
Steve, the Getaway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's got to play well, hasn't it, as well? Yeah, I mean, that goes without saying. But I think the potential for what they could do with that system is incredible. But will it play Donkey Kong? That's what I want to know.
Probably, yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, so I watched the 2 reveals and I watched the Xbox Series 1X stuff. I thought it was crap. As in, I didn't think it looked like much of a leap. I thought it looked more of the same. It was just a little bit shinier. Didn't do anything that I was like, I need to buy one of these. There was nothing. So by the time the PS5 one was coming out, I was hardly interested. I was just like, it's just going to be the same. And then when they had that demo on, I was absolutely knocked out by it. I was just like, Michelle's telling me not to be political. Give me time. But yeah, so when I watched that one, I was just like, this looks like a massive leap up. This looks like a massive step up in comparison. Yeah. Whereas the Xbox one didn't. It just looked like more of the same, and the PS5 one really did. And I'm not saying that because I work for them. I was actually like, shit, I want one of these.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it looked absolutely beautiful. I can't wait. Yeah, and I hope they do. I hope they do manage to get it into people this year as well, because I think that still seems to be. I'm surprised that we haven't heard more from the likes of Intellivision about whether they still plan to bring. I mean, they will not want to miss that 10/10/2020 date because their whole marketing campaign, such that it is, has been built around releasing on that date. But I do think hardware manufacturers are going to have challenges getting things shipped around the world, and you just wonder. So far, they're both committing each other, it seems, to releasing these consoles in 2020. But you do wonder if the likes of Intellivision might well just push theirs back. That'll develop.
It's like who blinks first, though, isn't it? Because I was expecting Microsoft or Sony to basically go, right, it's going to be next year now.
Yeah.
And the other one follows suit. But as soon as one said it's coming, then the other one's had to. So far, you know, it's coming.
They'd have to almost get together, wouldn't they, and say, right, let's make a pact. We'll both ship it in 2021. Yeah, that's right. Retro stuff. So this is slightly more retro, Dean. So you can
good.
Come back to us. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Oh yeah.
Modern.
Modern. Yes, modern, man.
I didn't like it when it was first out.
Oh, I loved it on the PlayStation 1.
They're being remastered, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it coming to Switch as well?
Got no idea. No idea.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Streets of Rage 4? Can I tempt anyone with a bit of Streets of Rage 4? Has anyone played it?
I've not.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Been well reviewed.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's on. I've got Game Pass for PC, and it is free with that. Okay. So I installed it on the day of release. It's a brilliant service. That, I mean, I wish I had an Xbox One just to take advantage of that Game Pass service. It is really cool. But yeah, day one kind of download it and was playing it. You know, without. I mean, I think it's £20, isn't it? Is the retail price, which I think people have balked at a little bit, but it seems fair to me.
Well, that's the download price, isn't it? I think the physical copy is quite a bit more.
Is it?
Okay.
Did it get a physical release? Then it has got a physical release. Yeah. If you can find a shop open that sells it. Yeah, this is it, isn't it? It looks good though. You know, I've played the first couple of levels and really enjoy it. Music's amazing. I think Yuzo Koshiro was back, wasn't he, doing the title screen music? But it plays really nice and it looks nice, and I think it'd be good to get a bit of a co-op gaming session in on that.
I will pick it up eventually. It's just at the moment money's a bit tight, so
yeah. Cool. All right. Well, if no one's got any more news, shall we move on to the main event?
Can I give us a YouTube update, because I'm following it?
Yeah, sure.
Go on, YouTube update.
It's like real people.
It's like a proper reporter.
Yeah, man, there's like real people like on that screen over there saying stuff.
So how do that screen then?
To us, I'm looking at it. So it's exciting stuff, man. Someone says, "Evening, lads." It's pretty good. Yeah.
Is that the best you got?
Hang on, I'm working up to it. So that was Chewy. Chewy79 says, "Evening, lads."
Evening.
Mick Berry, the lovely Mick Berry, says, "Blimey, you lot are looking rough."
Thanks, Mick.
He's obviously not looking at me.
Thanks, Mick. We've got Maximum Power Up Paul. who's just said...
He's just looking up.
He's just looking up, yeah. Oh, yeah. He won't like that.
I'm joking, Paul.
I know. He said mag chat as the topic. I mean, you mentioned a magazine. And
Look, he's there, yeah.
It's coming in a minute, Paul. Coming in a minute.
It's like a little radar goes out. It's someone talking about magazines.
This is my domain. Mine.
No one else can.
No one can talk about it. You'll be correcting everything we say now. But I think you'll find in that issue of the one, you're wrong.
So actually, the editor of this issue we have here was interviewed by Paul just a while ago.
You've probably got him on the line.
Yeah.
I've got 8 magazines, Paul. You can't have them.
Who else have we got? I've spent too much lately, says Squinty US. Blah, 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 blah. Squinty US says, have you got a 128 Spectrum yet, Steve? I have. I've got one over there, which is all good.
2.
I've got 2, actually. There's one next to it. I had 3 last week. Anyway, 2 of them aren't working, and the one that is working, the sounds on the AY chip's rubbish. I just can't get it loud. So I want another one. So shout out to anyone who wants to sell me a 128 plus 2 with a decent AY chip.
Doesn't ask for much.
Don't ask for much.
Preferably refurbished if you can, you know.
I'll swap it for an Amiga.
Pimping out my Amiga, man.
It's my Amiga now. I love it, boss. That's going nowhere. What else have we got? Nick Berry says, is that a GoTech with the emulated drive noise? Yes, it is. Amigas are like classic cars. There's always something.
Yeah,
is it safe to use a Mega Drive controller on an Amiga? Yes, there's one connected to that one right over there. That's what's
and some of the games do take advantage of the 2 buttons, don't they?
Yeah.
Desert Strike being one
I've
of
got
them.
a question there then, Dean, because you're good at stuff like this. So, can I use a 6-button Mega Drive pad on my CD32 without an adapter?
You can, but I don't think you can use all the buttons.
Or the controls.
But it's got a 6-button pad would have the same amount of
I
buttons.
don't think it's wired up the same, though. I mean, the major no-no is putting a Mega Drive pad in a C64.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Don't do that because they tend to go bang.
If anyone listening knows, because I think you can get an adapter for the CD32 so that it fixes the way the connections are. I'm not.
Yeah.
You can use it anyway. If anyone knows where I can pick up one of those adapters, please just drop me a line on Twitter or anywhere just to let me know.
Cool. Okay, last few messages here. Splatty says, evening, gents. Hope you're all well. Evening. Alex Ansty. Not Alex and Steve. Alex Ansty says, hey guys, glad you're all well. And Squinty US says, this is Clint, Steve. So it's Clint who we met at Revival. Hello, Clint.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello, Clint.
Clint who bought you lunch, wasn't it? Didn't he buy you lunch?
They didn't pay, did they? They just sat there in the shadow of our glory. and didn't buy us anything. Although they have offered to buy us it next time.
Nice.
They've heard that now. This is committed to video and podcast.
There was another message from Mick Berry talking about that the Super Nintendo SD to SNES thing. He says that he thinks Mega Man X is an SA1 game. I actually had to look at this today. I think it's Mega Man X2 and Mega Man X3 that are. Okay. I think Mega Man X was just a normal regular game, but I could be wrong on that. But I was playing it earlier anyway on the SD to SNES and it worked, so that's good news.
Cool. Okay, back on with the show.
Yes.
Back to use live in the studio.
Magazine chat.
Yeah.
Magazine chat.
So I'm gonna turn away from our lovely mocks here and onto the next scene. Let's see if this actually works. So in a second, you guys will be able to see it as well. But now we're looking at the magazine instead. So this is the issue of the magazine we'll be talking about. The October 92 issue of the One Amiga magazine. My favorite Amiga magazine from back in the day, because that was the one I could easily get in Denmark.
Cool. I'm just going to bring it up as well, so I've got it in front of me. Yeah. What did you guys think generally of the reading through it? I love leafing through these old magazines. I mean, it's such a nostalgia trip, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, initially when we were talking about doing an episode like this, I remember we had a brief talk about will there be enough good games in just one magazine to talk about? And I think it was Matt who said, well, pick any Amiga magazine from 92, it'll be chock full of great games. And sure enough, I went through all of the 92 issues of the one, and there are like 10 good games to discuss in each and every issue. So what a year 92 was on the Amiga.
Was this the peak? Was this the peak year for the Amiga? Do we think? I mean, 92, 91, 92. Was it when it was at its zenith?
92.
92 was when I bought my A600, and I used to pick up nearly every Amiga magazine going, and you could go into a newsagent every week and pick up a new magazine, and they all came with discs mainly. They were thick. It was a good read. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, 140 odd pages in this magazine. You get your money's worth, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of them are adverts, but there are a lot of features, previews, reviews.
Yeah,
good stuff.
And a lovely mugshot of it's Andrew Braybrook, isn't it? Who's doing a development diary on Uridium 2 in here with his long flowing locks. I don't know whether you guys read that, but that was quite. It was quite good.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting now, kind of reading these things, obviously, way after the event, after we've played these games to death, going back and kind of watching reading a development diary from a game. So it really is. It's eye-opening stuff. It really was good stuff. So, how do you want to do this, guys? Should we each talk about our game, or do you want to pick? Is there anything that you want to necessarily pick out, or?
So I was thinking we just have a brief look at the contents here, just to give the listeners and viewers an idea of what was covered in this magazine. So, as you see here, the editor was David Upchurch, and the deputy editor Gary Wither. I think Paul has talking to both of those, right? I mean, for Maximum Power.
Definitely done David Upchurch at least.
Yeah, yes, I know. But great stuff being covered here. Actually, we see an image of Assassin, I guess. Right there, and that just reminds me of Strider, of course. But
I was just going to say, Team 17's complete and total rip-off of Strider. Yes,
but quite a good rip-off. It was a great game.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's better than Strider.
Once again,
isn't it? It's better than Strider.
Is it? It's been years since I played.
It's better than Strider on the Amiga, I think.
Yeah, probably on the Amiga. Yeah.
It's been years since I played it. I'll tell you what it looks like.
It's about 17 quid as well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it was. They're always a bit cheaper, weren't they? Just looking at the screenshots there, you still on the you on the cover of the mag now, or actually into the contents of it?
Into the contents now. So I'm actually now where you can see all of the games that have been reviewed and previewed and the articles there.
Okay. So I'm just looking at the screenshots for Assassin. And if you look at that looks the spit of Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
You look at the tree and the blue, and it looks like Bionic Commando.
Okay.
Yeah. See what you mean. Yeah. But I just see Strider.
Look at the reviews here. I mean, we got the aquatic games. Anybody like that? I loved the aquatic games. It was James Pond game that I actually like to play with my mates. Some great little. It's like an Epics game, right? The series, winter games, summer games, all that. Yeah.
With a bit of a sense of humor, yeah.
We got Fire Force reviewed, and Humans, and the Lionheart as a preview, and Lotus 3, Match Day, Nova 9. I actually don't know Nova 9, and Pool Party, Shuttle, Trottlers, and Sewell. We should have Matt on here. He could talk about Sewell.
Steve really likes Shuttle. That's one of your faves, isn't it, Steve?
Shuttle? I don't know what you're talking about.
Shuttle is the one that said it's got a manual that's about 200 pages long. I'm sure you've read it. And
Love it. About as much as like text adventures.
Yeah.
But they really go for it on the previews, don't they? There's a massive preview of the Chaos Engine in here as well.
Looking at it now, really nice.
Yeah.
Well, Bitmap Brothers, it was going to be hyped to death, wasn't it?
Yeah. Surprised me just how hyped it was, though.
Yeah. I think it's the one game they made that actually stands the test of time. It's playable.
Yeah.
Speedball 2 is quite playable. Speedball 2 is still reasonably playable. It's not as great as everyone makes it out, but it's still playable.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So
Speedball 1's better now as a playable game. Anyway.
So we each chose like one game we wanted to talk about, and it was actually quite hard to choose here because we had to choose from reviewed and previewed games in this magazine, and I chose Trottlers, and I've got everything set up here so we can actually show you some footage being recorded from a real Amiga while we're playing it. So I'm just gonna try to find the review of Trottlers here, so I'm gonna be flicking through a lot of pages quite quickly. Bear with me while Steve is gonna sing us a song.
just looking at the do you know what I love looking at, because I used to pore over endlessly the special reserve pages. Oh man, when I was younger.
They were based just round the corner from where I live now.
What was the
In
address?
Stalbridgeworth.
Yeah.
I used to go up there sometimes.
I used to look at these pages and just dream of being a member of this going to this special reserve shop. But it was so far away from. It was like the other end of the country. Yeah. But look at some of the prices. Have you seen these? So, Super NES games, 48 quid.
That was cheap. Some games were about 70 quid on the SNES.
Lemmings, £47.99. Christ.
Is that on the SNES?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. When I used to work up in the city, I used to pop up the West End over lunchtime a lot. And going into Virgin, SNES games were like 60, 70 quid. Some titles. It's ridiculous.
Amiga 600 HD, 440 quid with a whopping 20 meg hard drive.
Wow.
20 meg. 440 quid.
Yeah.
Lots of money. Yeah. I used to love looking at those pages, though. Yeah, very nice. So, anyway, sorry, Matt.
Yeah. Going into Trottlers. So this was my game of choice because this is a game I always feel gets too little attention, and I really loved it back in the day. It's definitely a game that's heavily inspired by Lemmings, but it's got a completely different take on it itself. So as you may have read now, if you're watching the video, you control Hocus or Pocus. In 2-player mode, you can control Hocus and Pocus, but you will be only Hocus, which is the helper of some wizard. Hocus and Pocus, they by accident release some little creatures called Trottlers among all kinds of different dimensions for some reason, and then they have to go back and fetch them. So these little Trottlers are little creatures, little lemming-like creatures, really, right? Little rodents that go out of some door and have to find their way to the exit, really. And you have to control your little helper, your little Pocus here, and the only thing you can do is you can place blocks and you can remove blocks, but there are different kinds of blocks. So you'll have normal rocks that they can just climb over. You'll have blocks that flip them over so that they continue walking on the other side of the block. Remember not to place those right up a wall, for example, because then you'll just kill them by flicking them right into the wall. You have all kinds of different traps that will be set that will try to kill the little critters. And then, of course, you have to get a set number of them into the exit every time. And there are lots of levels. I think we talked about it last time, Dino, something like 360 or something.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting game and a good puzzler. So it was made by a Swedish team actually in '92, of course, because we're reading this review in the October '92 issue of the one. So it's made by Christopher Nilsson and Dennis Gustafsson and Thomas Liljetoft. But apart from that, we've got music and sound effects by Alistair Brimble. So some
amazing music as well.
Yeah. But a great game that actually deserves a bit more attention than it gets. And I'm going to switch now. Let's see if we can just have a look at the second page of the review. That we can see that they actually really liked it here. They gave it an 85% score overall. And they like this little puzzler. But let's just have a look at the actual game. So I'm going to grab a controller now. Let's see. So we've got it running here. This is running on a real Amiga, of course. Everything should work, I hope. It's been standing there for an hour, so I hope it actually works when I press fire here. But let's see what happens.
This is good going, this, man. You're juggling all of this very well.
And what do we got here?
Job.
So you guys, while I play it, you guys have to describe what's actually going on here, I think. So
well, what's going on is that we can't see what Mads is doing. So we're looking at each other.
In a second or two, you will be able to.
Yeah. So when you were scrolling through to find the Trottlers article in the magazine,
yeah,
we were still streaming that. So basically, like all these articles flew past on YouTube.
Yes.
But it reminded me of the data burst at the end of Bad Influence.
Ah.
Remember that? And all the tips would go up the screen really fast.
So what's going on here, Matt? You've got is this Hocus kind of popping about the screen laying blocks, is it?
Yeah, so I'm the little green guy here.
Green guy, yeah.
I'm laying blocks to guide these little trottlers. There was all the little brown guys there, and I need to guide them into the exit right here. And,
so this game is very similar to Lemmings, isn't it? In that your toddlers will just walk in, will just continuously walk in a straight line, and you have to kind of guide them by using these blocks, as you've said, into the exit. But I mean, it says in the magazine, doesn't it, that what does it say? Something like it's better than Lemmings, or it exceeds what Lemmings did. That's a bold claim, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's actually, in many ways, I think that's a correct claim, because it's just that tad bit more interesting, because you have direct control over this little guy here that places the blocks. There are many different kinds of blocks. There are some levels you don't only have to like hurt these little trottlers around. You have to avoid zombie trottlers as well, because they'll kill your trottlers. You'll have to pick up gems of different colors. There'll be all kinds of traps that you need to avoid as well, and you're battling time as well at the same time. So there are many nuances to this game, and it actually becomes quite tough to play, quite hard later on. The only real critique I have of the game is that it's exceedingly easy for the first hour that you're playing.
Yeah,
you'll just
it's like all of these puzzle games, isn't
going through the motion. Yeah, but Lemmings actually got, I mean, if you chose like the normal difficulty levels, it got quite hard very quickly. But Trotters really doesn't. It takes a long time for it to pick up, but after a while, well, you'll see that it is actually it is quite hard, and it gets a lot more interesting. So
and it's further complicated by the fact as well, isn't it, that you only have a finite number of blocks. Yeah. So you have to think about kind of how you're laying your blocks, and make sure that if you lay that you've got to be kind of almost clearing up after yourself by going and removing blocks, so that you can continue to lay others.
Yeah, and you can even remove the block you're standing on, because when you say remove a block, it'll be there just for a half a second longer, so you can remove it and then jump away to the next one. Yeah. But in a level like this one, you start with no blocks. You have to pick some up, and you have to build those structures you need to guide them down to the exit. And you have to be careful that you don't place a block on top of one of the trottlers, because that will kill them. You have to be careful not to remove a block that they're walking on, if that will mean that they fall too long, because that will kill them. And you have to be careful, of course, to not guide them into traps and fire and whatever we have later on. And into the path of the zombie trottlers. So lots and lots of stuff to consider, and a great game with a great soundtrack as well, that I think everybody should pick up if they do enjoy puzzle games.
What about you guys? Did you guys play this, or did you play it back in the day?
I played it this afternoon. I think, as Mads says, it's very easy to begin with. It feels too easy, but I got into it. It's obviously the main difference for me from Lemmings is that it's joystick control rather than mouse. Yeah. But I found it a little bit too simple. I think Mads is right in saying that with Lemmings, the difficulty level did start to increase pretty much straight away. Once you got onto like level 6 or something, you really had to start thinking. Whereas with that, you don't. The levels I played were all, to me, a bit far too easy. But there's a lot more levels, I think, isn't there? So
there are so many levels, it's crazy. But I totally agree. This game, it actually almost stays out its welcome just in the initial 20-30 levels, because they're so easy, so you get bored. Yeah. But if you do stick with it, there's a great game there. I'd say that everybody who likes puzzles should try to stick with it for a while, because it does become a lot better. And it does become certainly
it's a nicely programmed game. It looks nice. It sounds nice.
Well, isn't it? Yeah. Production values are really nice. Who published it?
Once again?
It was Storm, and it was developed in house. That was as you said, Matt. It was a Swedish group, wasn't it?
Yes, it was developed by ATOT Design, and it was published by the Sales Curve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Storm in the magazine. Okay. Steve, did you?
Yeah,
did you play
Storm was the Sales Curve.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I only had a quick go of it yesterday. Pretty similar to what Dean was saying, really. I liked it. Totally saw the Lemmings influence as soon as I booted it up. But was initially going for the mouse to try and move everything around. It was like, what's going on? I like it. It's quirky and it's fun. I was expecting more than just blocks, but it's obviously going off the Lemmings influence again. That I was expecting to have different tools and different things to use it, just the blocks.
Yeah, but they come later on, but a lot later on, as we just said. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't play too far into it. I just thought, oh, this is quite quirky. I quite like it. It's quite easy. I got through about 5-6 levels, and I was just like, it doesn't seem to be offering me anything else apart from a quick, simple challenge. So maybe I should have given it a bit longer, considering that you're saying that it's got a bit of depth to it. Once you get, but 30 levels in is quite a way to go before it starts picking up.
Yes. You do need to invest at least an hour before it starts to pick up.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of these puzzle games, they're not designed for just quick pick up and arcade plays, are they? They're designed to.
Yeah, they're long term, aren't they?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's 2 players. Did you ever play this 2-player, Mads?
Yeah, I did back in the day, and it's quite good fun. But you can also work against each other, which is kind of annoying. So, but it's good fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Good stuff. For me, I mean, this is by far my favourite of the games that we looked at in this magazine, and it's quite interesting drawing the comparison with the game I'm going to talk about later, which I will do when I talk about it. But it is definitely of the games. I didn't play this back in the day. I remember having it, but I didn't play it. But I had a good go of it earlier, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna stick with this actually and see how far I can get into it. And it works on the A1200, Dean.
Yes.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice with the GoTac. So I really like it. I think it's a cracking game, and the music's amazing. I love all of Alistair Brimble's work, but this one is really, really nice, catchy tunes. Good stuff. Good stuff. So would you agree with the 85% lofty score?
I think it's a fair score myself.
Yeah, I would say as well. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a Lemmings beater. I prefer Lemmings. But, I think it's quite a nice game. And as Mad says, if you stick with it, it's a lot more rewarding.
Yeah, it is indeed. But I would agree with the 85. I would even probably give it a bit more myself. I do love Lemmings, as you know. One of my favorite games on the Amiga, but this is almost up there with Lemmings for me. But
it's a very nice game.
Again, I'm one of the weird people who actually enjoyed Lemmings 2 as well. So maybe I'm maybe I'm weird that way, but I really enjoyed Trottlers.
I like that you're sporting a Lemmings haircut at the minute.
Yeah. I just need to call it green.
The bounce.
Oh, I'd really love to get a haircut, mate.
Clippers. Over you go.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince my daughters to give me a haircut, but they don't dare to be. I don't know what they think is gonna go wrong, but maybe I'll get them to do it tomorrow.
You've got 3 daughters, haven't you?
Yeah,
3?
I do.
So like one can have one side, one the other.
Yeah, that'd be good.
See what you end up with. Leave the back, just get a mullet going down the back.
Nice.
Very good.
So I'm actually loading up another game while we're talking here. It's currently loading the humans, so that would be you, Chris. I'm gonna switch to the magazine again, away from our beautiful faces, and then you can just tell us a little bit about the humans and why you chose that. So in about 10 seconds,
you'll probably... YouTube update before you do that, or do you want to just dive in?
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, let's have a YouTube update.
Well, while you gather your thoughts, Chris, we're just having a quick look. Have we got any new comments there? And
I'm just going to go and grab a beer while you're doing that.
And we've lost
Chris.
Chris.
Got 2 comments to say. That's one. So, Squinty US just says lol. I don't know why. Weird. Not his name's not Weirdo. It's not. I think this is his real name, so I don't want to say it wrong. But it's Wiedo with no R, but it does sound like I can't say it any other way. Weirdo. Wido. I'm sorry. He's listening to us now. I'm trying to. No offense meant. Pachinov is his second name. He says, "Do you guys consider a Mister?" So I'm guessing he's talking about the
FPGA thing. Yeah.
I'd like to have a look at one at some point. Definitely. I think I had one years ago, but I think it was just a little black box. But I had it connected up to a LCD TV. It wasn't that good, and it didn't have that many cores. And I think they're a lot better these days. So, yeah, I'd like to have a look at that.
They're supposedly really, really good these days.
Yeah, unless you meant to find yourself a man, which I'm all right for now.
With FPGA, like the Mister, can you hook it up to a CRT?
I don't know.
I'm not sure because I use CRT TV, so that's something, I'd really want it to be RGB SCART, really.
Well, it's computer components, isn't it? So it's I think it's likely to have a HDMI at best, or VGA or something. Otherwise,
yeah.
Okay, so what else we got? Neil Purdy says he loves the show. Cheers. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Kit says, good evening, all. Interesting idea. Just saw that you guys were recording. Kit, as we will remember, was my nemesis in our Dingio Supercars 2.
Yeah. I was about to say Knight Rider.
Knight Rider. He was, yeah. Yeah, so he was my nemesis, and it was a good fight, and I absolutely battered him. I didn't. It was a good battle between me and Kit. Retro Hammer or Hamer says "Hello all," no H. Hello all. The video game newsroom time machine says howdy. And Nick Berry is on topic, and he says, "I've had a few days off work with a touch of the Troddlers."
Typical Mick, that is.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the latest YouTube update.
Nice, and just in time for we got Chris back again with a beer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So we still got the magazine running on screen right now, mate. So let's hear something about humans.
Yeah.
Got his pajamas on.
The humans. This is my best shirt.
For what? Going to bed.
Palm trees, look. Pineapples.
Pineapples.
It's my best shirt, man. God.
Going back to the video now so we can see Chris's shirt. Come on, Chris, show us your shirt.
Look, shirt, pineapples.
Oh.
Pajamas.
Pajamas. Anyway, the humans. Yeah. God. So the game that sent me down the Compact Flash rabbit hole. Yeah. I struggle with it a little bit. So this is also a game clearly derived from Lemmings. But it's similar to Troddlers in a way, in that you have direct control over your little humans, and it's primarily joystick controlled. And it's a puzzle game, series of levels. Each level has a goal, and usually that is getting at least one of your humans to a specified point on the level. Levels are pretty vertical in that you've got to normally get up or down platforms. Your humans aren't very robust little people, so if they fall probably more than 2 humans' length in height, they'll die. And you have a finite number, so the human will then respawn, but you have almost a pool of humans that you can use. And as you lose one, then you'll get another one from your pool. And then if you run out of humans, then you end up with a game over. It's beautifully presented. The graphics are really nice. There was no in-game music, which I was really surprised by. And I don't know whether that was just I had a jippy ADF file, but really nice menu screen music, no in-game music. Some rudimentary sound effects, nothing special there. But the game generally looks nice. I just found it a little bit cumbersome. It's really awkward to control. So you've got direct control of your human with your joystick. You've then got to use the keyboard to cycle between the various humans. You normally have 3, 4, or maybe even 5 on a level. You use the arrow keys to scroll backwards and forwards between your humans. You've then got to use the spacebar to select the different actions that your humans can take. At the start, all your humans can do is pick up or stack. You can stack the humans on top of one another to create like a human ladder, which is really...
Sorry to interrupt you, mate. I'm just going to actually switch to the game so people can see it's loaded here. So I've got the first level ready. So you just keep talking. I'll just go right over here and press buttons on my Amiga.
So your humans can stack or you can pick up. And then in the first level, you get a spear. And then you have various actions you can use with the spear. You can pole vault, you can throw it. Generally, what you need to do is get your humans all together in one place, normally in the early levels, to create a human ladder. So you might have a series of actions that you need to take. Your humans are completely immobile. They can walk left to right. Really annoyingly, they can't jump and they can't climb any height at all. So if you have a platform which is up to the waist of one of your humans, really annoyingly, you can't climb it. So what you tend to have to do to get through the levels is you have to do these actions to get your human from point A to point B over and over again. So let's say, for instance, you've got the spear. You use the spear to pole vault over a gap. You then have to throw that spear back to the human behind you. He then has to go and pole vault over the same gap. That human will then throw the spear back to the other one, who will do the same thing. Series of things that you need to do to get your humans from A to B, and then the same again from B to C, all to just achieve that one objective.
It sounds very repetitive.
Oh, and it's so cumbersome the way it controls. You've got one hand on the joystick, you've got another hand on the keyboard, and you have to... I found it a bit painful. Having said that, I did play through 7 or 8 of the levels, and it does take a long time to play through because you've got to repeat these actions. You get a password after each level. It's a good game. The puzzles are reasonably well thought out. They're not mind benders. There's an element of arcade to it as well because you've actually got to direct control them to do what you want them to do. Matt is just showing there in the video this kind of stacking that they do.
Yeah.
It is just repetitive. You just have to do the same thing over and over again. I actually started the game. It's got 3 difficulty levels. I thought it would be like Lemmings, that if you were on easy, you get an easier set of puzzles, medium, etc. But actually, as far as I could see, all the difficulty level did was give you less time to do it. Oh my God. On normal, I was running out of time on level 2 because you've just got to keep going back and doing the actions. And I thought, well, what's the point of having a time limit? It's just going to make you stressful. I mean, these puzzle games are designed to just be slowly thought through. I thought the time limit was a whole load of nonsense. I enjoyed it. I found myself wanting to play just one more level, but God, you need some patience.
Yeah. So I think it's got a lot of charm to it anyway. I mean, you're right. It's a very, very slow-paced game, and there is a lot of repetition. But have a look at this little animation here, for example. This little paper clip from a newspaper written on a piece of rock, and it has a lot of personality, and it wants to be funny, wants to be tongue-in-cheek, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it does fail for some people because of the pacing. I loved it back in the day. I remember picking it up on the DOS version, and I played it on the Amiga as well. But I still actually have my DOS version of Humans. But
I'm assuming that this sold quite well because it spawned a couple of sequels. Didn't it?
2 sequels. Yeah. It did 2 and 3. Yes, that's the other thing as well. I mean, it is the loading times. Oh God, it takes forever to load. It takes a good 10 minutes.
So our viewers are actually having a look at that right now because they can see that I'm switching discs all the time, and
it's interminable.
we're finally.
How many discs is the game?
It's only 3 discs. Yeah, but for some reason they put the data all over the place, so you need to switch disc every single time you do something. Yeah.
So you complete a level, and then after many levels, you get like a little animation.
Yeah.
But the animations are all on a different disc, so you have to swap discs.
A lot of developers around that time started thinking that people would have multiple disk drives.
That's probably true, Dean. Yeah.
Does it recognise DF1 though, Dean? It has to be. No.
Doesn't it?
Has to be Has to be in DF0.
Right.
So yeah, that is annoying. I mean, once you're into it, I played this in the end using WinUAE, and I snapshot saved the once you got to level 1. So actually, I could completely skip all the loading. But if you're playing this on real hardware, you've got to be really, really patient.
Yeah.
There's enough in it, though, I think, to keep... There's definitely enough in it to kind of get me back to it, but whether I'd be there's about 90 levels. Whether I'd be patient enough to get through all of them.
So really, it's probably best to play the CD32 version.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Today, if you can.
Yeah. It was ported to the consoles as well, so maybe... I suspect having more buttons. I think the CD32 is exactly the way to play it. I did get as far as having it up and running and just couldn't control the things on the CD32. You get a lovely CD audio soundtrack on the CD32 as well, and obviously you don't have the disc swapping, so that is definitely the way to play it.
Yeah. It's a shame I couldn't get it to load. It's the one game out of the lot that I've really struggled with.
Yeah.
Just no joy, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I had to resort to emulation, which always pains me. Steve, did you play it?
I did play it, and I had no issue loading it either. Just on the GoTech on the A500.
Did you not?
So that's the thing. It's a
Right.
A500.
That's what I need.
Yeah, just work. No bother. So I did my head in, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But I'm looking at Mads doing level 1 on YouTube now.
Yeah, he's on
And
level
I don't
2
know-
now.
Level 2, yeah.
Yeah.
He's. I don't know what I did wrong because he's got 8 minutes to do that first level,
Yeah.
and I had 1 minute 20.
You played it on normal, which is what I did at first, and I couldn't do it. I could not complete. I
You
kept
only have
dying.
1 minute 20 for this level?
Yeah, for
That
level 1.
sounds- Wow.
Literally,
Takes a long time.
so yeah, it took me 3-4 goes to work out what I was doing.
Yeah.
At which point I realised that to do it in the 120, you've got to do it immediately and you've got to get it right. Everything.
Yeah.
So that must have been. Then it must have took me another 4 or 5 goes
Yeah.
to literally get the little characters, put them in the right place, stack them on top of each other,
Yeah.
and on my final go, I managed to do it all in time. Got him on top of him. I had like 3 seconds left. I got up to the spear and I didn't know how to pick it up.
Yeah, you have
Press
to.
enter.
No, you have to change the actions. This is the way it's cumbersome. You have to press the spacebar to change the pickup and then press fire. It is a pain. And the other thing that's annoying as well, so you can get these instant fail states. So on most levels, the spear is essential to get your humans to vault over the very stuff, just like Mads is doing on the stream now. So Mads is using his human. There he is, vaulting over the gap. Now, you not have one spear per level. You need to get all your humans down to the bottom. If you mess up and that spear drops into, on some levels there's water. If that spear drops into the water, you might have done it 4 times for 4 humans. On the last one, you underthrow the spear. You have to just start the level again. You're in a fail state, which is really, really painful.
So I think actually on this level, I could have done with just 2 humans. Let's just have a check here. I think I only need 2 humans to finish.
Dean is gone, by the
He's
way.
us, man. He's not liking this game at all. Now he's just got a little icon of his face.
Am I back? I disappeared.
We can hear you. I'll see you.
Professional
Right,
stuff
okay.
going on here. But yeah, I want to like this game. I always did back in the day want to like it, but having replayed it now, I can now see why I didn't get on with it really back in the day. But there is a good game there for someone who's got a lot of patience.
Mm.
Would I agree with the 80%? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't give this 8 out of 10. It'd be lower for me. It would probably be more like a 70%, I think. I think that's generous. It's nowhere near as good as Troddlers in my mind. Troddlers is a lot more playable, a lot more instantly gratifying, and simply not a patch on Lemmings, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe it's nostalgia, but I actually really enjoy this game still, even though it is quite slow. I see in this second level, for example, you only needed to use 2 humans. I didn't have to go through all the motions that I did with throwing the spear back and forth. I could just take the 2 spears with the 2 humans and get it over. So maybe you just need to figure that out for the different levels, how you can what is the easiest way through. But
there are other levels though where you do need 4 or 5 to build that human lad, and you do need to go through that rigmarole.
Yeah, that's true.
The one thing for anyone who does want to switch this on, just get to the game over screen and watch the animation that plays on the high score table. High score just seems completely irrelevant, but there is a score. Like in a lot of these 80s and 90s games, you have scores. And in a puzzle game, it just seems a nonsense. But, you know, the animation and the music when the band are playing over the high score, you get this, like, little caveman band, is absolutely brilliant. Probably worth booting it up just to see it, just to get a game over state. It is really, really funny. But, a decent game, but not one I would recommend to anybody but the most patient of gamers.
Yeah, probably true. So how did you guys find this? Did you?
I couldn't load it, so I couldn't.
You couldn't load it. You couldn't play it, of course.
No.
Okay, and then you didn't really get along with it, Steve.
No, like I say, I only did the first level and couldn't. After all my efforts of like 6, 7, 8, 9 goes trying to get to that spear, I couldn't pick it up, and the time ran out. And then that was it. I was like, I haven't got the patience for this. It's not my type of game anyway. Both of these games are spins on Lemmings in one way or another.
Yeah.
Definitely derivative of it.
Influenced by definitely, yeah. But no, I'd say 6.5 out of 10 for this.
Yeah.
It's got some nice things there, you know, and you can see it'll be good, but it's got too much stuff that annoys you. Like the first level should be a really easy introduction.
Yeah. Well, it is when you take that ridiculous timer out by setting it on easy, and that's all the easy and medium does. It just changes the timer, and does need a little bit of, as I said, the controls are so cumbersome because you've got to use it's a combination of keyboard and joystick. Obviously, a symptom of the Amiga only having the one button, but does take a little bit of figuring out the controls. I imagine if you persist with it, that stuff will become second nature, but you do need to give it some time. I'm not surprised that you struggled with it. I was close to giving up as well.
So it seems I'm the only one who actually enjoys Humans, but I still stand by it. I enjoy this game, and I think if you're a puzzle game fanatic, you need to check this out as well.
Yeah. Troublers is a better game, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I enjoy Troublers a lot more. I forget, I must have played Humans 2 and 3 back in the day, but I forget whether they are better and faster paced than this, but, I need to give that a go as well, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go over here and switch a disc.
So who's up next, Matt? What have you got coming up for us next?
Right now, I'm loading Fire Force.
Okay.
Cool, well, that's me.
That is you.
I can't even remember who published this. If you got the details, I haven't got them handy.
Just flicking through the Mac. Somebody else has to find it for you. Give me a second.
Sorry.
Do you want a YouTube update?
Go on,
Yes,
please.
YouTube update.
YouTube update.
It's good at filling the gaps, isn't it?
It is, yeah, very good.
It's good. I keep pointing at it like it's there.
You're like a retro asylum weather girl.
That's me, mate. Live update. So what have we got? So we've got Splatty. He sort of starts mid-conversation. He says, 92, eh? Makes me feel so old. I remember being mischievous in those days, paying my postman because he supplied me with copied Amiga games along with my monthly Amiga format. Nice.
I love stories like that.
That's it, man. Loving it. Squinty US says, just checking out Humans. Sound effects or music by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Squinty US says, never played it before, and the disc swapping, wow. Glad I'm using my CF card. And Video Game Newsroom Tide Machine just says, hi, Mads.
Hi, Carl.
I think what he doesn't realise is that I'm the one who's reading these, so if the messages I'm not going to read them out. You know what I mean? So
maybe he thinks your name's Mads as well.
that's a one-off. I'll give you that one. But I'm the communicator here. Never mind. Hi, Mads. Just skipping like I'm not even here. So there you go. That's our update from the World Wide Web of YouTube.
Nice.
I assume Matt's not watching. I thought Matt.
You never know. He's not
busy, mate. Busy.
I will say one thing. We went up to, at one point, 17 people watching it. And we're still there. We haven't lost anyone. So,
and we're through the human section. We're doing well.
And we didn't advertise this that it was going to happen either.
No. This is a trial run. So let's just put it out there because they can all answer in approximately 5 or 6 minutes. We'll see the answers. What do you think? Should we do this again? Do you reckon this is the way to go? Are you enjoying it? Oh. Michelle's popped up now on the YouTube chat.
Oh, she's giving you a little kiss.
I tell you what, no, she's been messaging me on WhatsApp, and she said she's been watching it on her tablet and messaging on her phone. How techie am I? Which I was impressed with. She now managed to log into a YouTube account and says, "Hi, Steve," just to make you feel better. Which it does. Thank you very much.
Nice.
That's like 3 bits of text she's using at once. Which
Michelle
makes me wonder why she asks me all these techie questions when she knows exactly what she's doing.
Wasn't Michelle McFadden in Atomic Kitten or something? Was she ex?
Yeah, and she might actually her friend's an ex-pop star. No, she wasn't. They're all saying hi to me now. Yeah, different Michelle McFadden.
I think we should start calling you Steve.
Well, that's what most people
It's a proper Liverpudlian thing, that, isn't it? All right, Steve.
Yeah, that's what most people call me. You just call me Steve, which is fine, but yeah. Oh, she's now back on WhatsApp.
Steve.
She's now back on the WhatsApp saying she's drinking the fizz. She didn't want to admit that on YouTube, but I've just outed her.
It's Saturday night. She's entitled.
Why not? Yeah. Mick Berry says, hi, Steve. Splatty says, I'm doing my own show here, guys. You just
yeah.
You can have a beer if you want.
We're just here in the background.
That's no worries. So Kit says, Video Time Machine now says, haha. But once again, he hasn't directed it to me. Kit says, I'm still here, working on changing a thermostat on my car. Nice.
So Kit lives in.
Kit.
Help me out, Mads. Where does
Utah.
He's
He lives inside the bonnet of Michael Knight's car, obviously.
So Kit lives in Utah, half a world away. That is so cool that he's changing a thermostat in his car, listening to us, thousands and thousands of miles, mate. Never fails to boggle my mind. That.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Mick Berry says, hi Steve. Splatty says, you should definitely continue doing these streams. Good stuff. Thumbs up. Squinty US says, well, I've got nothing better to do. Only joking. Yeah, I like it, guys. And then back over on my WhatsApp channel, Michelle said, you are dead. Excellent. Brilliant. It's all going well.
But it's been nice knowing you, Steve. It's been nice knowing you.
No worries, man. But just to keep it real, while Dean goes back to the games, I'm going for a wee. Shh, don't tell anyone on YouTube.
Yeah,
God, we can't even edit this out now, can we?
Right. If I leave the door open, you'll probably hear me.
Oh, nice.
Put some music on or something.
Mute your microphone at least.
So Dean, we've got the Fire Force coming up here. I've got the article showing here. It's by ICE, published and developed by ICE. Yeah.
Yeah. What did the review say? Because I've got the screen's too far away for me to see properly.
It's very they really liked it.
They gave it a 90%. They really liked it.
90%.
90%, yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I still find it awkward to control, this game.
Yes.
And the loading screen, don't you think he looks like a boss-eyed Jim Carrey?
a bit actually, yeah.
It does, with shorter hair.
I wonder if they have the loading screen here. No, they don't.
Yeah, when you first play this, it feels like an arcade game. It's like a Green Beret, but there's a lot more to it. But my main problem with it is with the gun, you can aim diagonally, up and down.
Yeah.
And I keep, it's probably just me, struggle with the aiming.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm trying to shoot someone, you know, the gun's going all over the place. You've got different weapons with the F keys. You can, you know, you've got grenades and machine guns. You start off with a knife, and it's a bit like Metal Gear Solid. You know, you're sneaking around. You can just stab, or you can run up behind the guys and slit their throats for a silent kill.
Cool animation, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, it's definitely got potential, this game.
Yeah.
I did play it when it first came out, and I didn't give it much of a chance. And again, this week, I wanted to play it more, but with what's happening in the world, I've got my son with me all the time. And whatever game I put on, he wants to play it. So it's made things a bit awkward. But yeah, no, I wouldn't give it 90%, I don't think. But it's more of an 80 to 85 for me. But I think, you know, there's a cool game there. I'm not sure how big it is, though. Because I couldn't get very far into it.
It's really difficult.
Yeah, it is a hard game.
It feels like an arcade game in that sense, hasn't it? I mean, it does. They do. Are you playing it here? Are you, Matt?
Yeah, I am.
I'm just trying to find a video.
Some people here.
Yeah, I mean, it does. The graphics are a bit rubbish, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
For a 1992 Amiga game, you'd expect better
feels
than
a bit
that.
dated, doesn't it?
It does, and there's not a huge amount of frames of animation going on there, other the way he moves around. But it's playable. I agree with you. I mean, it kind of feels like, because it feels a bit like Green Beret, you'd expect it to be like Green Beret.
Play like Green Beret, but it doesn't really.
But you've got to get to the land extraction zone, haven't you, as well, by a certain time.
Yeah.
That makes it difficult, because you kind of want to take your time going through it, but you can't.
Yeah, it's a strange one, because it does seem to, you know, the sneaking about with the knife and stuff, it seems like it's a game that wants you to take time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's trying to rush you through with that
counter. And it doesn't allow you to.
Yeah.
Mads is just showing off the fact that you can go in and out of the buildings and the tents, which is quite cool.
Yeah, yeah. And it's okay, but I don't think it deserves 90%.
No. I think they like the way you could change your loadout, you know, and it is cool the way you get your mission brief at the start, and then you can choose your loadout, you take that into the mission. There's a lot of good stuff about it, but I wonder again if it's one of those games that you actually need to kind of put in a bit of time, you know.
I think it is, yeah. I think that's a fair comment, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think, Steve? Did you play this one?
I played it for a bit. I haven't heard what you've all just said about it, but I'm going to agree with you and say that it was rubbish. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But I didn't realise you could, I'm not one for reading instructions, so I didn't realise you could change your weapon and...
Yeah, press the function keys.
There's a lot of detail to this game, and it is definitely one where you need to... check out the manual and figure out that you can actually switch your weapons on the function keys. You even have a grenade launcher. I think I tried to show that just a couple of minutes ago, and I failed miserably.
We've seen that.
But it is actually quite a good game if you again have the patience for it, because sneaking like this, like I'm doing right now, is probably the way to go in many of these screens, for example. So you can actually get quite far if you're a bit more deliberate and don't just rush around. So right now I'm trying to enter this building and kill the guys so they don't shoot me out. Oh, and I just ran out of ammo. Let's switch to the knife.
I always found that the game is better played when it is a bit more deliberate and you take your time.
Yes,
but you've got this constant fear of missing your extraction.
Yeah.
At the end, which if you don't make it, that's it. You fail.
That's true. I'd actually, this game would be a lot better without the time limit, because if you could just take your time and sneak around and try to be deliberate and slow about it.
Did anyone else struggle going up and down the stairs as well?
Yeah, I remember that back in the
cut
day.
His throat. That was gruesome.
Yeah, I did as well. I
think the controls are too clunky a lot of the time. I suppose the aiming and going up and down the stairs is a bit of a nightmare.
I think
you have to make sure you're in exactly the right place.
The aiming is a pain in the backside, really. It really is. I mean, once you by accident aim a little bit up, then it's so hard to get it back down again, and you end up shooting the wrong stuff, and it becomes quite annoying. So I'd agree with you there. But apart from that, I'm sure there is a better game here than we actually see, giving it only a little time. But it's probably, even saying that, it's probably not a game I will go back to, because it didn't really speak to me that much. So
I've got quite a funny story about how I got this. I did tell you guys in the chat about how I got this back in the day. So this hooky guy who we used to go to in Liverpool to get our dodgy games. We used to go around to his house kind of once a month or so, and he'd have a list of all the new games he got. And when we were there, he used to go on the bulletin board. He used to I was fascinated as a kid. So he used to actually go on the bulletin board and see what was there.
Yeah.
I remember being there one day, and he went on and he showed us games, and this was one of them. I distinctly remember, because it was called Fire Force, and I thought it would be a game fighting fires. So, and I thought that sounds really, really good. Download Fire Force. So he did. While we're there having a cup of tea, he downloads Fire Force, kind of copies it to the disc, and away we went. I was absolutely gutted when I got home and put it on and seen what it was. But actually grew to like it. But that's why this game, as soon as I seen this in the magazine, like that memory came flooding right back of him actually dialing up to this bulletin board and downloading it while I was standing there.
How long did that take back then?
Oh, it probably took about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That would have taken about 15 minutes per disc.
Yeah,
I used to be on those bulletin boards.
Yeah, about 45 minutes. Yeah, thankfully it wasn't beneath a steel sky, in which case we might have had to get the camp bed in.
It'd still be there.
But yeah, this game is burnt well into my memory because of that. I think it's reasonably playable, but 90%, blooming hell.
I think part of me just wishes that it's a Green Beret clone.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Strip away all the rest.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah. What did you think, Mads? What would you have scored it? 90% seems generous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. I would probably score it in the 70s somewhere. It does look good. It feels like a game, as I said, that I would grow to like. If I had bought it back in the day, I would have invested the time and I would have grown to like it, because it feels like there's a lot more there than just meets the eye immediately. But it is a bit of a faff, and I really didn't get along with the aiming. So, yeah. In the 70s.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Should we move on to our fourth and final game?
Let's do so. I'm just going to move on over to the PDF viewer here, so you can have a look at Lotus 3. And while I do that, I'll go to my Amiga and get it loaded.
Cool.
Steve,
Mads is acting director for this episode. He's
Really is.
doing an amazing job.
He's working hard. Well done,
Yes.
Matt.
So
Any YouTube updates, Steve?
not really, not much exciting's happened really over there. Just checking in with the guys live over there on YouTube. Splatty has said, "Well, I'm in St Helens, so I guess that's abroad. I guess that is abroad."
Yeah.
Don't know what that's in reply to. Once again, middle of a conversation, but thanks for the comment. Enjoying it. And then Mick Berry has said, "If Metal Gear and Russian Attack had a baby."
Yeah.
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 That's about right.
Yeah.
Decent shout, that.
Yeah, good point. And you didn't ask me, but I think 90% a joke as well. I'd give it 9%.
It's not that bad, mate. It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
I didn't like it. You're saying there was a lot of switching weapons and stuff, and I think you should just switch discs and play something else.
Yeah. I'd give it 60%, I think.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay.
So, are we ready to rock and roll on Lotus 3?
Do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so this is my choice from the magazine. Lotus 3 obviously was the sequel to Lotus 1 and 2 by Magnetic Fields. Now, when Lotus 1 came out, I was on the Amiga, I was absolutely blown away by it. Like, it was the first time that I felt like it was almost as good as Outrun on a home computer. And at the time, a lot of people forget when you go back and play Lotus 1, it was only half the screen as well. Because the second half of the screen, the player 2 thing was always there with just the car. There was no second player. Yeah, so it was only the top half of the screen for Lotus 1. But I always remember thinking, this is amazing. And I was playing it 2-player with my mate, and it was a fantastic arcade style, Outrun style racing game. And then Lotus 2 came along and upped the ante again. And I felt like Lotus 2 got everything right then. We had the full screen. It was more exciting. I think Lotus 1, I'm just trying to remember, Lotus 1 was just laps-based. And Lotus 2 was point-to-point. Once again, like Outrun. And then also it had all the different styles of terrain and, you know, like I say, everything about Lotus 2 was a big improvement on Lotus 1, and it still had a really good 2-player mode as well. So it really upped the ante. And by Lotus 3, we're expecting something, if they were going to do it again, something phenomenal. And having gone back and played it this week, they didn't achieve that, in my opinion. I think it's a good game. It's a solid game. They've taken some bits from Lotus 1. They've taken some bits from Lotus 2. But they haven't improved on Lotus 2. They've got a few bits wrong, in my opinion. It's not as fun. Some of the track designs are a bit silly, in my opinion. So you've got like futuristic tracks and stuff. Like there's like one of the tracks is like futuristic track, and one of the things that's really annoying about it, it's got like
lasers.
Lasers.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah, just there to slow you down for no reason. They're not, and you can't time it. You can't dodge it. You know, if you take things that are in 1 and 2, you'd have like it's pot luck. Yeah, it's pot luck, and it can just hit you, and it can just ruin your race. That's it. Like Lotus 1 and 2 had like boulders in the road or logs, and if you hit a log, you'd bounce and you'd jump. And you'd see that sort of coming up, and you go, "Oh, there's a log." And
it's for jumping over the rivers, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a river. There's a big, massive puddle. You could jump it, and the rocks you could dodge. So there were objects that were in your way that if you got good enough and you got skillful enough, and you remembered the track and you knew that was coming, you could play that to your advantage. Especially if you're in 2-player and the second player didn't know that was coming. Yeah, you dodge rocks. It was all about skill.
So see, I really liked the whole jumping over the logs and stuff like that. That was great to me. And the Rex system just meant that you had endless fun with this game. You could have so many different, like millions of different levels, just auto-generated.
Well, that's my point, right? So with the logs in Lotus 2, it was great. It was great hitting. You'd aim for them.
Yeah, exactly.
For the right ones to jump over the water. It was brilliant. In this, like I say, there was objects in your way that you couldn't avoid. They would just slow you down. It was just tough.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, like specifically the lasers. So it's not as good as 1 and 2. It was trying to be the best of everything. Like I say, it's got a mix of 1. It's got a mix of 2. If I remember rightly, you can pull over to fuel, you pull over to fuel on the right and left hand side of the track after you've gone through a checkpoint on certain levels, which is brought back from version 1 again. But it just didn't have the fun. It didn't have the class of 2. 2 is the pinnacle.
But look at this sense of speed, though. I mean, This is
It's really
amazing.
fast. It's technical achievement. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
the
not as
music
good
and
a game to
everything.
play.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
So just jump back to the magazine. I'm going to read out their verdict, and then we'll make our own decision on what we think. Okay?
Yep.
So the verdict: 1 + 2 = 3, right? Well, it seems the same arithmetic works with driving games. Magnetic Fields have basically pulled out the best bits of the first and second Lotuses, stuck them together, and bingo, Lotus 3. But the ultimate challenge? I'm not so sure. I know what you really want to know, and the answer is yes. Lotus 3 is the best of the series, but only just. What we have here essentially a rerun of Lotus 2, but with all the good ideas from the first one restored. The result is a game that's faster, slicker, and more playable than any Lotus game that's gone before it. Ultimately, just more of the same. It's a shame that the limitations of the Lotus tie-in have restricted Magnetic Fields from doing anything really different. Ideas that made games like Crazy Cars 3 really stand out from the crowd and would have made a big difference here. Apart from what you just expect, extra tracks, more choices, and a new car, the most notable feature is the Rex track designer. But I'm not at all sure about how useful it really is. Sure, it's flexible and easy to use, but you really don't get that much control over how the finished track will actually look. All you can do is give a rough idea of how much you want each variable. It may not be as accessible, but give me Jaguar's infinitely more rewarding system anytime. At the very least, however, Rex is a handy way to generate new challenges once you've exhausted the preset circuits, and so adds greatly to the game's lastability. At the end of the day, though, Lotus 3 is a goodie. It's more polished and playable than 98% of the competition. For the record, it's better than Jaguar, but not as good as the superb Crazy Cars 3. Has the best soundtrack I've heard in many a month, and on the whole, fans of the series won't be disappointed. But make no mistake, you have seen all this before, and it's good to see that Magnetic Fields and Gremlin are making the sensible move of quitting while they're ahead. 86%. Who agrees with that?
While you were talking, I was actually just, for the first time in a long time, hit by those lasers. And that is annoying. Why were they there? I mean, I was there, I was ahead. Maybe that's when you were ahead, they hit you just to make it more exciting. I'm not sure. But all of a sudden I was grinding to a halt, and then I had to start all over. That's just an annoying gameplay mechanic.
They're just random.
Yeah.
Oh, but the nice thing about that level as well, though, is it's got speed boosts parts of the track.
Yeah.
Which are really good. They're really, really good. You go really fast on certain parts of the track, and it's quite that exciting. But then, like you say, the lasers are just ruining it.
Yeah, that's true. So I really enjoy this game still, but you're right. The second game is the better one.
Yeah. It was. I think it was just unnecessary. They didn't need to make Lotus 3. They didn't really have any more ideas. I think maybe the track editor is good if you're into that kind of thing. I never was. I'm not now. The futuristic thing just was always annoying back in the day, and it feels irrelevant now. They put in the third Lotus car as well, didn't they? Was it a concept car? Yeah. They stuck in there.
Yeah.
It felt like they probably had in their mind that they were always going to do a trilogy. So it felt like, right, well, we need to get a 3 out. What can we do? Let's get a concept car in there. Let's do something futuristic. Doesn't need it. Lotus 1 and 2. And it's still a great game. It's a really, really playable rated, just like the other two Lotuses. Just like the other two Loti, as one may say. But it just doesn't feel like it was needed.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. It's like I say, 2 is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You notice, and I've noticed this on all of them, to be honest, that the AI in the other drivers' cars is rubbish. In every single one, they just bounce from left to right. That's all they do. So you just work it, like, he's on the left, I'm going to swing over to the right. He's on the right, I'm going to swing, and that's it. Just the speeds change of how fast they bounce, but that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think, Dean?
Well, firstly, I wasn't a fan of the first game. Didn't enjoy it too much. Loved the second one. I used to play this a lot with my cousin in co-op, split screen racing.
Yeah.
Thought it was absolutely phenomenal. They got it. It was perfect in my eyes. Then the second one come along, and when you're playing it in 2-player, it chugs a bit compared to the second game, because they've got the checkered road. I think it's just pushing it a bit too much.
Yeah.
As Steve says, the lasers on the first level are they're aggravating, really annoying. I never did get into the game as much as I did the seconds, and I played it again this afternoon, and I put the music on. I've always played the Lotus games. I don't even think you could play with in-game music before on 1 and 2. Playing it with the music on, especially while you're playing that first level with the lasers, you can't even hear when you've got hit. So
You can't hear your car. You can't hear anything.
it makes it worse. So it's, don't get me wrong, it's better than the majority of racing games on the Amiga, like those kind of racing games. Obviously, you've got Stunt Car Racer and stuff, but to me, the second one was perfect. I wish that they had done something different, not a Lotus 3. That team, that they were very good at what they'd done. I'd like to have seen them try and do another outrun, really. You know, because as much as I love Lotus 2, it does get a bit monotonous seeing the same cars. You know, you're racing, it's all the same cars on the track. The backgrounds do get a bit samey. So an arcade game where the stages are vastly different and there's different vehicles on the road, and you know, I think they could have really. I'd love to have seen what those guys could have done. With,
so
more
Andrew
of an
Morris
arcadey
and
sort of
Sean
game,
Southern, they were wizards when it came to.
Oh, they
racing
were.
games.
They were superb. You know, I wish they had handled the official conversion of Outrun and Chase HQ on the Amiga.
Indeed.
Would have been great to see what they could do. But yeah, the third one, it's good, but it's not as good as the second one. And unless you're using the track editor, I think you're best sticking with the second game.
Yeah. Agreed.
Have you guys played this Crazy Cars 3 that the reviewer talks about?
I have, and I've never seen the. I don't think it's as good as the Lotus games at all.
He raves about it, doesn't he? The reviewer seems to love it. I've never played it.
I mean, that is something I want to go back and play that now. So have a quick look.
Me too. Yeah.
I haven't played it in a long time. It was released twice. There's Crazy Cars 3, and they released it under another title. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Who developed it, Dean? Can you remember?
Titus. Yeah, French. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely better than the first two games, but it wasn't a Lotus beta in my book.
Interesting. Yeah, it does make me want to go back and play it.
Mads is going to show all our listeners now exactly what the last level looks like on Supercars 3, Mads.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no.
Actually, let me show you what I've got right now. So Matt was supposed to join us here, and we were supposed to be playing Putty because that was reviewed in this magazine as well. But sadly, he couldn't be here. But I thought I'd just show our viewers this little beauty of a game as well.
Yeah,
I tried to play it the other day along with Dean, and I was so bad at it. I forgot half of the controls, but such a beautiful little game, such a nice little platformer. And of course, let's have a look at the magazine here as well. They loved it as well. I think they even spent 4 pages on it.
Yeah, it's their feature review, wasn't it, in this issue?
Yeah, exactly. And let's just have a look at what the result was. 87. So actually, was that less than Fire Force? That was less than Fire Force, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's incredible because this is a lot better than Fire Force. This is a beauty of a platform.
It's aged
After
better
playing
than
it with
Fire
Matt
Force,
the other
hasn't
day, I spent a bit of time with it, and this is really a great little game. And really, the animation in this game is just exquisite. It's great.
Nice sand as well, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so Amiga putty, isn't it? Like putty is.
Yeah.
It's quintessential Amiga for me. These kind of like quirky platform puzzlers. There's so many great types of game like that on the Amiga. So quintessential Amiga.
Yeah, and works perfectly with the single button. I mean, you'd think that a game like this would need a lot of buttons because the controls are quite complex, really. But it works just perfectly, actually.
Yeah. Were there any other games in the magazine, guys, that any of the other review games that kind of sparked a bit of nostalgia or anything you want to comment on?
One of the games that was previews, I can't remember what it was called. Lionheart. Is it Lionheart?
Yeah.
Loved that game.
Yeah,
I think that's
beautiful.
One of the graphically most striking games. Maybe not the sprites so much, but the parallax scrolling on it and great music and sound effects. Love that game. So I'm quite into Rastan on the arcade, and that to me is fairly close.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a game. Yeah, there was a game in the mag that not many people have heard of it now because it was an absolute flop. Zool.
The Sonic beta.
Yeah.
Sonic beater.
Zool, man. Yeah. So yeah, some mad game about an ant
from that nymph dimension, or
the nymph dimension.
Yes.
So I'll throw that in from that.
Do you know what the reviewer said about Zool? He says, fuller than RoboCod. Another your favourite, isn't it, Steve? RoboCod.
That's crap as well. Go on.
Faster than Harlequin, and I think better than what I've seen of any of the Mario games.
Really?
Wow.
So it says,
Wow.
and it goes on. Although those drastic Nintendo owners will no doubt be up in arms about that. I mean, my God, if that isn't a partisan Amiga reviewer typing those words, I've never heard anything like it. Christ. I actually think it's all right, but it's Jesus.
No, it's
all right.
Scrap.
It's a nice attempt, but there's better. Kid Chaos on the Amiga's a better Sonic clone.
Yeah.
87% in here.
Mm.
Not bad.
So
the Amiga didn't do good platformers. There's not that many good platformers on the Amiga. You didn't get it right.
Up to jump, man.
Yeah, that is the problem. That is the problem.
Jump.
I mean, I love the platformers.
Yeah.
I love the platformers on the Amiga back in the day. I loved playing Super Frogs and James Pond. The first James Pond, I still stand by that. That's a great game as well.
I like James Pond 1. James Pond 1's good. Robocop is not good.
No, Robocop is boring, but
it's terrible.
James Pond was a really good game.
That's all
Fire
right.
Nice was good.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Obviously, Rainbow Islands, which is an arcade conversion, absolutely super.
That's great.
Rainbow Islands was
Bubble Rainbow Islands,
yeah.
Parasol Stars.
I actually I've said this before. I prefer the Rainbow Islands version on Amiga to the arcade. It's a beauty.
Yeah.
Rough and tumble.
Yeah, it's a real running gun, isn't it? But it's great.
So we got the aquatic games here as well, and I know you guys said you didn't really like that, but have a look at this. I mean, look at those
I
graphics.
like it.
It's and the music is
nice.
beautiful as well. I used to love playing this. So you got these different events like. In one of these screenshots, you're jumping on a sponge, doing different tricks, and the other one, you're trying to keep all of the beach balls away from the other seals so they can keep on napping. And there's like running and jumping over electric eel, and I mean, this you gotta love this. It's beautiful, and they gave it 84%. I see.
I liked it. The problem, I can't play games like this now because I'm too scared to break my joysticks.
Yeah, you can't just go down the shop and replace them, can you?
No, so
That is
I
true.
can't play games like this anymore.
No.
Which is a shame. I liked it back in the day. That I had many, as you said, man, to get your mates round, and it was one of those go-to games. It was a good laugh in multiplayer.
Yeah, indeed.
So for me, I picked out Match of the Day. Match of the Day. It's actually quite rubbish, but I used to love playing this back in the day. It was a bit of an alternative. It's a football manager game. It obviously pales into comparison massively to Championship Manager, which is a game that I spent many and many a day on. Never mind hour. But what was cool about this is that at the end of the week, when you'd kind of picked your team and everything, you got to your match highlights, which were terrible and quite rightly slated in the review. But you got this really cool kind of screen where the Match of the Day kind of program started, and you got what was his name? You probably remember, Steve, the guy with the grey hair. You had Jimmy Hill, Des Lynam.
Oh, yeah.
You get Des Lynam and Jimmy Hill kind of sitting next to each other, presenting Match of the Day, and they present your highlights. And I used to love that back in the day. So that was a game I remember well. And Archie McLean's Pool as well is reviewed in this issue. And that I still find that really, really playable. A step up on Jimmy White's snooker for me because it's just quicker.
So instead of Match of the Day, Manchester United from 1990. That was my football manager game. Man, I played that a lot.
But do you know, Manchester United in Europe was actually the better game, and it used to pay me that it was Manchester United, but it actually was a really playable game.
Yeah.
Neither of them was sensible soccer. That was the problem.
No, that's true. That's true.
And in terms of games I've taken away, so from reading this, one of the games on the cover disc was a game called KGB, which I've never played, but seems like a bit of a point and click / strategy game.
Yeah.
Matt, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that from back in the day. I never finished it, so it mustn't have. It hasn't captured my attention for too long. But I did play it a bit back in the day.
Yeah, that read that and thought that looks right up my street. And it also reminds me that I still need to play Legend of Carandia because there is an interview with Brett Sperry, the president of Westwood.
You haven't played any of the Corinthia games?
No.
Ooh, the first one is great. The second one is beautiful. It's awesome. And the third one, I lost my patience with that after an hour or two. But
Ooh. So is that Malcolm's Revenge? Is it number 2
yes.
or something?
No, that's number 3. The second one is called Hand of Fate, and you follow Cynthia instead, the young sorceress, I think. I remember buying that back in the day with a friend, 8 discs for the DOS version, I think it was.
Crikey.
Yeah. Great game.
Yeah. And then there was one other little tidbit in the public domain section, which I love reading through those sections, but in the public domain section, there's a reference to a game called Doody, which was a Joust clone. And for some reason, I remember playing that a lot back in the day as well. I still remember the way it looked. I can't find it now. I couldn't find it on the internet after a quick look. Couldn't find the ADFs, but that was a really good Joust clone as well. PD game. Any other little kind of snippets that you've seen, guys? Or are we done?
Only the work in progress on the Chaos Engine.
Yeah.
Which is, they were proper hyped about it, but they were right because it was class, and it still is.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned
bit from me.
earlier on, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. I didn't say anything. I waved my glass of wine at you. And,
so, as Chris was saying earlier on, there's a great not interview, but like a logbook with the development of Uridium 2 by this beautiful long-haired gentleman here. Yeah. So and this is a good read as well if you're interested in these things. And this is a part 3 or 4. Part 3.
What did you all think of Uridium 2 when it came out? I love it. I prefer it to the first one, but
I like both of them.
Yeah, me too actually.
I'm not a fan of either of them.
Really?
No. I think the music on Uridium 2 as well. I think it was Jason Page who done that. Really great soundtrack to it.
Yeah, I never got on with that, and I still don't now. We played Uridium in the game club, didn't we? A couple of years ago.
The first one I find really hard.
Yeah, it's way too hard.
It is hard,
I think it put me off the second one as well.
That's true.
Yeah. Good.
Cool.
Yeah, but a really nice magazine here, mates.
So we want a final YouTube update?
Yes, please.
Yes, let's have it.
Catch up with the guys over here.
Over there on
over there, yeah, okay.
Over there on the other screen. Yeah. Let's see what the guys are saying now. Mick Berry says 2 things I've discovered that's blown my mind since I've been off and tinkering with retro stuff. Cheers, Mick. Paul Garrett. I know he comes back. It's all right. There's a follow-on. It's fine. My mate Paul Garrett. He says, 2 was miles the best. I'm guessing he's talking about Lotus.
Yeah.
And he also says, down with Jeremy Corbyn. No, he doesn't say that, but he would say that to me in real life. So, Mick Berry says, you boys need to try SNES Arkanoid with the Mario Paint mouse.
Oh.
and the MSU1 audio patch for SNES Batman Returns.
Yes, he sent me a clip of that the other day. That was quite impressive.
Sweet, we'll have to check that out. Amaniko Stone says, Mads is nothing like I expected him to look like.
He's nothing like we expected him to look like either.
No, he doesn't look like that.
So I'm nothing like I expect myself to look like. I normally have this huge beard, but it disappeared the other day, so...
Well, to be fair, like normally we log on and Mads looks like a Viking, and we logged on today and he looks like he's got the hairstyle of a tall Oompa Loompa. That was his guy.
You don't look like you're pushing 50 either, Mads, either without your beard. It definitely de-ages you.
What else have we got here? She says classic. He or she. I can't see a picture, so I don't know if it's a man or a woman.
Obviously talking about Match of the Day.
Yeah, classic, she says. Squinty US says Lionheart, a game I actually own. Looks great for a 500 game.
Yeah.
Great game.
My mate Paul comes back and he says Strider.
Spelt like Tinchy as well.
Yeah, he spelt it. Yeah, we should point out to Paul that it's actually our game of the month at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's people in our group on our games club who are close to breaking the world record.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Those two.
So I'll tell Paul how to get hooked up with the games club if he wants to play Strider and try and catch up with everyone. And then he says after that, ha 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 ha, damn right, which I think is referring to the Jeremy Corbyn quote. So yeah, that's it over on YouTube. And then I had one mate on my actual Facebook who just said, I love you, which is nice, which is my mate Masso. So I don't know if he's listening or whether he was just being sympathetic because I put a post up and no one else had responded about our live chat. But I love you too, mate. Hope you're doing okay. So that's it. That's my live report. Back to you guys.
Cool.
Well done, Steve.
Well
Should
done.
we thank the patrons?
Well, I was going to say, normally we would thank the patrons, and we'll do it on the audio podcast version with their names because there's 2 or 3 new, and I haven't printed the list off, so apologies. But we'll record that and put it in on the audio podcast.
Great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well.
Cool.
So, what do you think, guys? Do you think this is a potential for the future kind of semi-irregular, occasional series that we could do?
Maybe.
I mean,
well, let our listeners and viewers know.
Yeah.
I mean, damn right. I mean, that's it. I mean, we still got 17 people watching. It went up to 17 and it stayed there.
Yeah.
So either we've done a good job, or there's something wrong with my YouTube page and it hasn't refreshed for a while.
Well, the thing is, we didn't announce this until the very last minute. You know, we need to publicise a good few hours before we go live that it's going to happen, if not days before. So, like all the other YouTubers do, because YouTube for us has always been a bit of a second fault.
We didn't know we were going to stream this till the last minute, did we? It was a last minute idea to actually go with it. So, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. I enjoyed going back through those old magazines, and sometimes I think we've spoken before, haven't we? There's so many games that you could play, but it's nice to kind of have a bit of a focus. So if you choose a month in time and you look back, it's nice to have there's 8 to 10 games there. Let's go and choose from that little selection. So it just narrows us down. I really enjoy it going back through these magazines, and it's been good chatting to you guys about the various games.
Yeah, I think it's something we could do again. Pick a different magazine, different format.
Yeah,
maybe.
ST user.
Yeah, as
maybe.
long as we get the Dean's ST fixed.
Yeah, I need my ST back.
Yeah,
I thought this was good fun. I'd be interested in hearing from the guys who've been listening to this instead of watching it, whether this format actually works when it's in audio format as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it could be something that we do more often if it works.
Indeed.
So, guys, before we wrap things up, any shout-outs? Mads, let's go to you first.
So, of course, I need to shout out Video Game Newsroom Time Machine now that Carl is watching. So, hi, Carl. Here's a shout-out. And apart from that, now just to other content creators and to Matt, of course, who couldn't be here today. That's sad, but I hope he's going to be here on the next time we do this. I know he was actually he was into doing this whole live streaming video chats thing, so I'd like to have him on as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out to Richie May, who started a new podcast. If you're into your arcade games, he interviews people who made the games. It's called the Ted Dadney Experience. I think they've done 2 episodes.
I've listened to both, really good.
Yeah, very, very good. So well worth checking out.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah. Good shout. Steve?
I'm going to shout out to Matt. He's not here tonight, and I hope he's doing okay, and all his family and everyone doing okay. And I'd like to give a shout out to Michelle, who's probably still not watching, or she's gone off and got pissed now. And then I'd like to give a shout out to all our listeners and followers, but I'd mainly like to give a shout out to all my new mates on YouTube, who are Blake Brett, Retro Fun for Everyone, Squinty US, Mick Berry, True 79, Mick Berry again, Maximum Power Up, Mick Berry again, Squinty US, Maximum Power Up, Squinty US, Mick Berry, Mick Berry and Mick Berry, and Mick Berry and Squinty US. And then Tigner's Boy. Tigner's Boy's a new one. I'd like to shout out to Tigner's Boy. He comes in twice. Then Splatty.
Sound like you're commentating on the Grand National.
And then it's Alex Anstey coming up on the right wing, and then we've got on the right wing now. Paul Garrett, right wing.
Politics again. You can't help yourself, can you?
So, hang on, I've started, so I have to carry on with them all now. So we've got Squinty US. It's not weird though, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Please get in touch.
We're down to 5 viewers.
Weirdo.
Everyone's dropping
2,
off.
1.
Eddie, Kit. I'm just jumping through them now. Splatty, Michelle, Kit again. Hang on, there was someone new at the end. Paul Garrett, my mate. And then Wise Mids. And then a new one just turned up right at the very end called Don Hotmail. Excuse me. And he says, yes, again, please. I was lucky and I found it live. Paul Garrett says, random question. Did anyone play Escape from Colditz? If so, did anyone ever clock it? I tried for months, but I never could. Mick Berry randomly just says, Amstrad action. Just out of nowhere. Love it.
That's because we had to pick a new magazine, of course. I'd be up for Amstrad.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love Amstrad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Wise Mid says, hi chaps, only just check my phone, but would then definitely watch it if you were to do this format again. So they're all my new mates, all about you. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, Michelle's still watching me. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
Steve, you've gone into guru meditation behind you.
Yeah,
Your Amiga's crashed.
Your Amiga's telling you something.
It's about time to turn off now.
Why I love
Coming out that GoTech.
Can I do my shout outs now?
Go ahead, mate.
Yeah.
So I just want to shout out Mads, because Mads has been working hard today trying to pull all these. He's got about 15 screens round him, kind of getting all of this magazine, and he's flicking between the screens. So he's the one really who's made the video possible. So thanks, Mads, and you've been poorly as well. So it's a damn good effort, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Well done, mate.
And stream
People
for
have
real
enjoyed
hardware.
it. And my other one is just a minor apology. On the last episode, I shouted out a new podcast, the Video Wizards, but I accidentally called them the Video Game Wizards. And I did have a couple of people say to me, "Who was that? What was that podcast? I can't seem to find the Video Game Wizards." The podcast is the Video Wizards, and I think they are now up to episode 5. So a really cool time capsule, a little bit like the Video Game Newsroom Time Machine. But it is a arcade focused, so another arcade focused podcast to listen to. But they also talk about popular culture as well. So yeah, apologies to those guys for that slight missaying. But yeah, it's Video Wizards. Other than that, usual content creators, and Mads and I will be back in probably a couple of weeks, mate, won't it?
Yeah, the Strider
2 weeks.
episode.
When we'll
And
be
at that point in
talking
time,
about
I
Strider.
will have beat your record, and that's good. I look forward to that.
What score is it? It's 3-2 to you, isn't it? In our head-to-head for the year.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And we'll
looking-
also be announcing which of the Amstrad CPC games we will be playing in June.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Forward to that. Indeed.
So just to
Good.
check my video quality here, I'd like people to hit me up on Discord and tell me what are all of the game characters I've got on my wall behind me here. I've got some Amiga game characters. I've got some adventure game characters over here. I've got a signed poster I got from Drisky here, and that's one of our listeners who did a framing of a C64 tape for me. So tell me what's on my wall, and I'll be impressed.
And you can win.
Someone on my new YouTube chat, where I chat to all my new mates,
Yeah.
did mention your posters on your wall before. That came up.
Yeah, they're not posters. There's only one poster. It's all beats that my kids made, like hammer beats.
It's by Sam and Max. It's a nice one.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we shall bid our listeners and viewers a fond farewell, and we'll see you all next time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.